So it's a beautiful morning here at Beaumaris after quite a windy and wet evening. It's Thursday evening, 8:15. We've just arrived, got everything on the boat, and it started to rain. But there's our starter, roasted peanuts and red wine, and Jane is about to cook a stir fry, I think.
Yeah.
So that'll be a very pleasant way to spend our evening now that the fan heaters have warmed up the boat. See you tomorrow. Bye. It's good to see that this water has dried up. It was rather flooded at the bottom of our ladder and towards the electricity box last night. That's all drained away, and so we're back to working on the bow roller supports. Hopefully our last bit of epoxy work here today. So we've got the fan heater to try and warm it up so that the epoxy won't or will set. My first task is going to be using the flat disc on the grinder just to get this thickened epoxy smooth, so that then we can mix some fairing epoxy and fair in all these edges and get it all beautiful, ready to paint and fit the barrel. Actually, I'm really pleased with how this has sanded up. It never looks very smooth because of the different colours, but actually that's pretty good and smooth. Just cleaned it with acetone. It's really pretty smooth, so the fairing filler just needs to go in these edges really, and just to get rid of any final imperfections there where the bolt holes have been filled. That's got a little bit of a dent there, so a few dents there. So that's all the fairing filler is going to do, make it so that we end up with a beautiful, simple to sand surface, and we can put fillets around these edges around like that, which will make the whole thing look really good once it's painted. So getting the fairing filler on is the next job. So we're mixing up, or Jane's mixing up the resin for the fairing filler. We're using Phenolic Microballoons, which should be easier to sand, but they shouldn't take on water. So we're weighing the resin. We find that's much more simple and accurate than trying to use pumps. Especially as we're mixing small quantities. So we're doing 60 grams of resin and 30 grams of hardener this time. We do struggle because of the temperatures. We're about 5 degrees C today, and that means we've had to have the resin in front of a fan heater to get it warm enough to pour well and to mix. So I've got these very cheap electric scales, which do make it very simple to count and reset the count. We wear a mask both for stopping any fumes from the resin, but also because the fibres that we mix in to thicken it are so fine, they can be dangerously easily breathed in. As we mix, it's really important to mix it really thoroughly, but not to get air bubbles into it. So we're fortunate in this sense because the low temperatures mean it's not going to start setting anytime soon, so we can take our time and keep mixing and mixing and mixing until we're really confident that the resin and hardener are fully integrated. And then this time we're going to start with just a small amount of the filler so that we can have a almost runny mix that will settle into all of the, I think a bit more than that, Jane. So these balloons are brown, which compared to the filler we've been using, which is harder once it's set and more structural, and that stuff is a white powder. A lot more. A lot more. That's barely made any difference to the thickness of. This is our first time using this, so Jane is a precision task person. If it doesn't need a hammer, then it's not really ideally suited for me. So this is a very different texture as it mixes into the, compared to the other white powder, which went very much lumpier and peanut buttery as you mixed it in. Keep putting more in. Same again, I should think. It starts off looking like it's going to be really thick when you put it first in, and as you mix it, it thins up a lot, doesn't it? Do not mistake this for chocolate spread. I do, it's going to just run out if I put it on like that at the moment.
It's going to suddenly turn.
Yep.
It's going to kick off soon.
No, it's not going to kick off in this temperature.
Not too much now. Not too long.
That's looking better, isn't it?
Like Nutella. Is that what you want?
I think that'll do for the first jobs where it's not going to run too much away, and we want it to flow into the little nooks and crannies, but we'll need it thicker to do filleting. That, we hope, will just flow into those, but it's also critical that should be very much easier to sand, so it doesn't matter if I don't get it absolutely smooth now. We'll be able to sand it smooth afterwards. Low tide and evening coming, so we're just getting ready to go. I'm just going to go and give you a final look at the epoxy that we've put on today. And from our foredeck you can see that yellow boat that's been brought out with its genoa shredded by that last storm the other weekend. We've only had one little bit of damage, which was the cover on the dinghy moved slightly, and we have a slight hole where the rollock missed its reinforcement pad. Anyway, let's look at what we've done today. And well, we now have a foredeck prepared for the bow roller that looks good enough to eat. Light sanding and then painting, we'll see all of that and that, which is still warm to the touch from the fan heater. Ready to install the bow roller, and we'll need a slightly thicker mix to fare that in nicely. We'll make it slope nice and gently. There's no need for a sharp fillet there, nothing to stub your toes on. And yeah, getting closer to being able to fit the bow roller now, so very pleased with that.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed it, give us a thumbs up.